Hello everyone. Today we have a big one with the Imperial Assault carrier. Now this is a large set, and well, I'm not too experienced with doing large sets. I might have a few large sets, but definitely when it comes to doing these, I tend to stride away because I know that there's a lot of time commitment to making one of these videos, and then also I hate doing it for some unknown reason. It's like, okay, I sit down and it's like, you know what, maybe I don't want to do this. So let's try and get through this one, shall we? Now, this is definitely one of the better sets. Many people overlook this one, especially at the price point. However, I did buy this one at clearance for like 80 something, which really turned out great because I don't think I would have this one otherwise. So that's probably why I think so highly of this set. But then again, I think it might have retailed for like 130, which $50 difference definitely does make a big difference. So yeah, but I do think for what I paid, at least, I am very satisfied with this set. So let's jump into it with our first minifigure, probably with Aidan Callus, shall we? First up on our list of flavorful cast, we have Aidan Callus, who's both an Imperial agent, a rebel spy, and one of the figures behind a mass genocide. So if that isn't a resume right there and a way to get a video flagged, I don't know what is. Now, he does have a belt and a bit of an armor plate with a bit of identification over there with 1 red and then 3 blue from the look of it. Now, he does have his bow staff, which he did win off of that near-completed genocide. I am probably going to say that word another 3 times, maybe, and that is definitely going to put this video in harm's way. But that's the kind of stuff that you do for content. Now, he does have definitely an interesting beard going there with just the sideburns. You know how he does it. Now, he is a bit grumpy after the fact that genocide was mentioned now a 3rd time. The back of it does have a few what look to be battery packs, which is very interesting that that's the design choice that they went with. But you do have the continuation of the armor and those battery packs. Of course, he's very happy now that he is sure that genocide will not be mentioned again. I will stop saying that word as we continue on to our next character that has no relation to that word whatsoever. With an Astromech Droid, because there's no way to mention whatever happened in the previous segment with this segment. So we do have a clear dome, which is very good to see. Those are, quite honestly, I don't really see too many of those anymore, but they do look very interesting, to put it lightly. I don't want to see like 100 of these just running around, but definitely in the the actual movies, they look very good, and in this Lego form, I think with the black, the like little translucent red works really well. Now, you do have the general detailing of an Astromech Droid, which is generally very confusing, and I don't know what to say about it, but there's a lot of good detailing on this guy, which is very good to see. You can't really see much of it on the dome, but there is definitely some front and back dome detailing, which is very hard to make out, so I wouldn't be surprised if you're like, what dome detailing? And so the actual back of the body has no detailing, unlike the trash compactor R2-D2, and also the side compartments, side legs do not have anything. So let's move on to our next figure. Our next figure is this random officer, Officer 72, yada yada yada, insert a bunch of letters, numbers. Now, they don't matter too much. They probably have a name. However, I have figured not to remember it for who knows what reason. Now, they do have an oil stain on their hat, which is very important to mention because that is very distinct detailing right there, very important, that oil stain. Now, they do have a little bit of a circular detail on their hat, their coat, or like uniform, very simplistic. Main detail is that belt, and also their plaque, which has 3 red, 3 blue. Don't know what marking that makes them. I'm assuming that just makes them a regular old officer. And they do have that very important pen, of course. Now, that pen is the crowning jewel for all Imperial officers. Now, there is a bit of the continuation of that uniform, which just kind of makes like a bit of a landscape with 2 hills and then like a line in between. You know, this is like one of those spot the difference. What's the difference between the left and right? These are the same pictures. So let's go ahead and move on to our next character, maybe with a bit more interest. I stand corrected. Instead of different, we have one and the same, with 2 of the same Imperial Pilots. Now, the one on the left does have a bit more detailing, as it is the front with the belt and then the bit of the armor plating or the breathing apparatus underneath with a little bit of blue, which kind of helps shine through that little bit of the breathing apparatus area. You do have the helmet, which has a little bit of dark gray imprinting, so you can kind of see through like the mouthpiece and also where the eye sockets lie, with some shiny Imperial logos up at the top. Nothing too crazy for this helmet, seeing it is just a standard helmet. The back just has the continuation of the armor plating, not too much detailing, with just an angry clone face, one-sided head. Nothing more to say about these guys, as they are one and the same. We can get through this quicker as they are one and the same, so let's move on to our final character, Sabine Wren. Now, Sabine Wren, being the Mandalorian that she is, does have a bit more detailing than the rest of the characters. However, it is a bit interesting that the fact that it is kind of low as well, specifically in the arms department. There's nothing on the arms, and it also looks like my arm has seen a bit better days, specifically in the arm department, as there is a bit of stuff happening over there. But the legs themselves do have a bit of bitonality, where you do have a bit of the dark tan and also some really light tan. You do have the return of the triple belt, which is definitely interesting because I don't think we've seen a triple belt in a while, if we have before. Now we do have some knee pads with a bit of red and gray. Interesting to see. Then we do have the Rebel insignia and some other just like white painting over in the chest area where the Beskar is. Then you just have some gray and some light gray. For the rest of the shirt, pretty neutral toned. Then the helmet itself does have a lot of detail with some added eyes, some silver, some dark gray, some brown. So you do have a lot of there with a just dark red base. And then if we lift the head, if I could lift the helmet, we have a bit of an angry expression, pretty blank. And then also a pretty meh expression where they're not really feeling it today. But if you thought that was all, we do have a little bit of plating just on the neck area on the back with that red and silver. But then we also just have that bitonality with the dark gray and the gray. Very interesting character. But wait, there's more, because they have a mullet, which is dark blue with a little bit of hint of orange in there. Because of course we needed this. This is probably one of the weakest hairstyles because, well, the coloring is kind of barely there, and it does just look a bit weird, if I'm going to be honest. So that concludes our minifigures. Let's get on to something that's a lot better, and probably the reason why I purchased this set, if there was a reason to purchase this set. Starting off with the engines, we do have a tri-engine setup with some stud shooters still left in place, one of which is loaded with a salad for some reason. I didn't notice this until now, but there is a salad in my stud shooters. Very interesting. If we go on to the side paneling, we do still see some details. These do go 360 degrees. They are connected, so they both go at the same time. So that's pretty neat. You can also just twist this, which is interesting. So you've got yourself a 3-point system where you can move 3 things to move all 3 of them at once, which is pretty interesting. You do have some side grabling for the wings bit, which is quite interesting. And it's also quite interesting to see like wings on a set. For Star Wars specifically, both sides are mirrored, so there's nothing different from each side. You do have a bit of storage for some spring-loaded shooters. It is a little bit difficult to take out sometimes. You can also just take off this one single piece, which just kind of weaken the whole thing, but it does allow you easier access, or I think easier access to the physical. It is a bit dusty, but there you go. You have easier access to it, and you can then try to put it back together as best as you can. But we're going to toss that in there, as we're not going to be testing off these, because they're just going to get lost and thrown off into oblivion. Now, before we go into the intersections, there's 2 more things that we need. Wait, what's going on? There's a physical chicken inside the cockpit. Excuse me. We're going to toss that chicken off to the side a little bit and see what's the cockpit got in store for us. Now, there is a bit of a control panel and a bit of a lever there. So not too much, but definitely interesting to see. I don't know why there was a chicken in there. But the underside does have a bit of fun stuff where you've got 4 mini-scale TIE fighters, which are very good. They're not microfighter scale. They're smaller, and they're really good because they work really well as TIE fighters, I think, because They provide you with enough detail where you've got yourself the cockpit and the wings, and also the clip. These are also a bit fragile, and the back or the underside is a bit plain. Other than the TIE Fighters, however, it does make it look like it has wheels. So, plus side, the TIE Fighters look great, and it also makes it feel like this is on wheels. So, 2 added bonuses there. You do have a bit of an antenna dish for communications. You have a carrying handle for easy pickup and use. You also do have flaps with added stud shooters in them. So if you needed extra studs for your stud shooters, there are 2 compartments in there. It is a little bit difficult to put stuff in there. Sometimes you do have access to this little thing, which actually does make it easier. If you open it up to access them, you do have 2 control panels and 2 levers for your pilots, and then also a back control panel. So everything that you could possibly want with some weapon clips. So there's a lot of spacious interior here, and also don't forget salad. You can't forget about salad. So you've got a space for everybody that you could possibly want, even your stray chickens. So that's good to keep in mind. So I hope you enjoyed. This might be a little bit shorter than I was anticipating it to be, but I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye.